Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular meeting of Pittsfield Town Council, Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. If we would, I'd like to have everybody stand and follow me with the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. So we'll ask for a moment of silence, if you would, please. Okay, thank you all very much. Greatly appreciate it. We'll move on to number 2, the adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held on March 1st, 2022. I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I make a motion we adopt the regular meeting minutes held on March 1st, 2022.
Second. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any discussion from the council? Any corrections or notes to be added, deleted? Very well. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. Pardon me. All those in favor of adopting the minutes of the regular meeting held on March 1st, 2022 as is, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The minutes have been adopted. So let's move on to item number 3, presentations, congratulations, and introductions. And I see that MSAD 53 School Superintendent Sherry Littlefield is here to present the information on the 2022-2023 school budget.
Yes.
Sherry, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I have Business Manager Lori Glidman, Detroit Representative on the Finance Committee Rachel Wenzel, our Board Chair Chris Weymouth, and Burnham representation on the board Roland Hughes.
You came voted for Bear, didn't you?
Well, you know, in case of questions, I can. Everybody has this in their packet, correct? Yes, okay, and it says draft on it for a reason. We, when it first came in, our budget was up about $650,000, and obviously I knew that wasn't going to fly. So we went back and started cutting supplies, looking at programming, and at this point right now, we're down to a 3.46% increase. A lot of that is connected to salaries, which we still don't know the number because we're in negotiations with teachers right now. So as soon as we finalize that contract, we'll be able to finalize this. We also had quite an increase in our maximum allowable tuition to MCI, which is set by the state. The past couple of years, that's come in at less than 1%, and it came in at almost 5% this year. So that's a significant increase. Again, the past 3 years, it's been less than 1%. We don't know fuel costs. We are calculating a significant increase there. We are fortunate that Business Manager locked in at $1.92 for a 2-year period. So come June, we'll be filling up our tanks on this year's cost to hopefully get us through a good amount of, or at least maybe till December, at $1.92, which will be a significant savings. We don't know our insurance cost yet. That is, this is a year that we had to go out to bid, and we don't have that back yet. Health insurance. We're waiting for, we'll get a range of an increase at the end of March, and we'll get the actual number the 1st of April. So there's still a lot of unknowns. I still have administrators looking at their budgets trying to find a few more dollars here and there. When you're looking at supplies and the teacher has a budget of $500, it's hard to start whittling at that. But we are doing that, and we're hoping that we can bring this down a little bit more. As you'll see, it comes to a 7.13% increase overall to the 3 towns, Pittsfield at 5% increase. Detroit, we'd like to get that number down below 12 for them, and we're gonna keep at it. But open to any questions you might have. Did I leave anything out? Lee?
I'll start off. I guess I have just a couple here.
Sure.
How often are the teacher negotiations done?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah, so they're ending their contract right now, and the other thing that, again, is out of our control, the state, for the past 3 years, they've set the minimum salary. It started at $35,000, went to $37,500 for this year, and next year we have to have all beginning teachers at $40,000. So when you bump up the bottom, you know, it bumps it up all the way along the scale. So we're negotiating that right now.
Right. Is the 2-year span, is that negotiable?
We could do a 3-year. That's the maximum we could do.
Could you see a gain with that? I mean, you talk about the 2-year price that was locked in for the oil.
Yeah.
I'm not comparing teachers to oil
Right.
prices, of course.
But the other thing is we do have 2 union contracts. We also have support staff contracts. So if you move it to, you'd have to do the same with that, because if you move 1 to 3, you're going to be negotiating the same year.
Same union?
No, there's 2 separate unions. There's a teachers union and a support staff union.
Okay.
So like last year, we negotiated with the support staff, and then this year it will be teachers, so it goes every other year.
So every year you feel the pain.
Pretty much, with one group or the other, but
But I mean, the support staff went well.
teachers are going well so far.
Yeah, they're, you know.
Well, it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
But having the 3-year though, that it's kind of a moot point if the state standardizes the minimums
Right.
each year. Does the state do that every year?
No, this is a bill that was passed 3 years ago, and they gave us 3 years to phase into it, to get to 40,000, which was nice that, you know, for some of the larger districts, they were already at 40,000 for their minimum salary.
Right.
For some of the northern districts, it was a big hit.
Yeah. So will we expect that kind of incremental bump from the state going forward?
I don't think so. I think it'll be a while before they'll.
I mean, it wasn't built into this law from 3 years ago. It's something that may happen when needed. It's
Right.
another- okay.
Exactly. And negotiating a 3-year contract, you're locked into it. If something happens and we need to cut, you know, and we've already negotiated their salary, you know, we could come in at a 0 increase. I can't imagine it would happen, but a 0 increase for teachers the 3rd year if something happened, you know, catastrophic and we really had to cut. So that's one of the problems with locking into a 3-year.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, understood. I understand. I have a couple more, unless the council has anything they'd like to. Go ahead. Okay. All right. What is the timeline for the budget process? What do you anticipate?
Sure. So we will present, the Finance Committee will meet one more time the end of March, and hopefully at that point we'll have all our cuts. We still won't know our insurance rate, so hopefully before the April 4th board meeting, we'll have our insurance rates so that we can finalize the budget at the board meeting in April. And then the budget hearing is May, should have brought that, I think it's May 17th, but I'll send that, we'll send that to all 3 towns.
Okay.
And then the referendum in June. That's it. So it'll be back to the old way, pre-COVID. So we'll have the 2-vote process.
Okay. Yeah. The first to approve the budget to send to the voters, and the second
Yes.
one to the voters.
Yes.
Very well. And one more, if I may, Council, on the health insurance. You're talking about you don't know what the premium is going to be. Is that a yearly thing, or it just have to be a contract with the insurance?
So it comes in, the rate of increase comes in yearly. And we don't know it. We get a range from MEA. We found out today, we'll get it the end of March. I know it's really hard for school districts preparing the budget and then not know the actual increase.
But in past, it's been like, sometimes it's been from 1 to 13% increase, and then sometimes it's 1 to 8%, you know, so the range is crazy how it happens. So the last couple of years, it's been really good, and we've actually walked in a pretty good rate, but we haven't, that's the scary thing is when because I budget a certain amount, and then I don't know what the range is, and then the range comes in, and it's like, you know, are you there or are you not? So.
Right. Do you have a feel for impact from the last 2 years?
From COVID, I think the range is going to be higher than we've seen.
It's nothing but good news.
No, it's just not. We've been fortunate for the past few years, but
Okay. All right, well, thank you for the information.
absolutely.
So the May 17th, I'm not going to hold you to that. That'll be
May 17th, is that what you said?
Is it
Okay.
May 17th? Are you sure about
I
that?
think so, 'cause that's
Well, you don't have to look it up. I'm going to ask, how can I find that? Will it be on the,
I will
Yes,
send
indeed.
them to Catherine tomorrow. How's that?
oh, that'd be great.
Okay. I'm quite sure it's May 17th.
Can you put it on the website?
Oh, certainly.
Okay, thank you for that.
And notify the counselor.
All right.
I have district budget meeting May 17th at 6:30, but I will double check that tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Where will that be?
I will send it to Catherine.
Okay. Just so happen I have that day open.
Yeah. You're always there, which is great.
So with the health insurance, when it goes up, the employees, I should probably know this, but the employees, how much of a percentage of the total health insurance does the employee cover compared to the district?
So their rate is, are they at 82%
The
coverage?
teachers are at 85%.
So they pay 15% of the health insurance cost? and the
Yeah,
district pays
the
85%.
district allowance they receive is 85% of the cost of that.
Which is, that's their current contract. That
Right.
could change because we're in negotiations.
So that all goes through the union negotiation as well?
Yes. Yeah,
Is there any state mandates on that, or is that just through the union only?
union.
So what percentage of the teachers are in the union?
I don't know the answer to that. Wait,
Because you don't have to be, right? I mean, it's
no, you don't have to be.
Right.
No. But they get the same.
But everyone gets the same benefit.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you're in or not.
Yep.
Do a public rent.
Just
Side testing?
saying what they're
That's
retired.
correct.
Is there a difference when they're retired, whether they're union or not?
No, because they're covered, they've paid into Main State Retirement.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
The advantage of the union is they will counsel, like if there's a problem and you need counsel, and they will do all that for you. That's the benefit of it.
That's one different benefit.
Now, is there any more COVID relief money or any grants or, I know that the last few years there's been some floating around to help with
Yep,
the impact. Is there anything left to
So-
help with impact with 20?
yes. So we still have a significant amount. We have one that is up June of this summer, which we're almost done with anyway. We probably have $600 left in that one. But we have two more significant grants, and we have huge projects in them, but we have till 2023, September of 2023 on one of them, and then September of 2024 on the other one. But those are, again, projects that we had to submit ahead. You don't get the money up front.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, we needed extra help with nursing. So we had written a project in. We foresee that we may need that additional time. So I can open the grant back up and add it for another year. We paid for a lot of our digital apps out of one of these in the technology line of one of the grants, and I wanted to move some back into the regular budget this year because I'm afraid in 3 years we're going to hit a big cliff if we don't start putting some back in the regular budget. So we did, and then I've moved some back because it was too much for 1 year. So we're trying to gradually move it back, but
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think if you're running on the grants and you're funding projects like that, and all of a sudden the grants go away, I mean, I'm not so concerned about this year, but next year, the year after,
Exactly.
as long as we're looking ahead to that.
So I'm trying to do some of the one-time hits, like we're putting new bleachers in Warsaw.
Yep.
They're not safe, they're outdated, we can't seat the whole school, so we can't space kids. Everything had to have a COVID connection in order to write it. So we're doing that, we're putting heat pumps in the gym in Vickery. We're looking at, there's no egress windows in any of the classrooms in Vickery, so we're putting windows in. We're trying to do some of those one-hit projects that will never have to go in here with the grant money.
Okay. So with that said,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get all kinds of.
No.
This is indirectly related to this conversation, but the new school conversation. I mean, if we're putting new windows in and heat pumps and, I mean, is the new school out the window, or is that ever going to happen, or?
That's the million-dollar question, and I don't mean million-dollar, but it is,
Right.
we do have we hired a couple of years ago a director, last year, a director of operations who's trying to make contact with the state to see where we are on the list, and it isn't even any money left for new schools. It's really hard because, you know, you can't let your schools fall down around you while you're waiting to see if you get a new school. You know, our thoughts, like a school like Manson Park, it's located next to the park, it's located next to the pool. If we take care of that building, it would be a resource for the town eventually. So, you know, one of the projects in the grant is put a new heating system in, a heating and cooling system for the Manson Park School. So, you know, we got to take care of what we have. I can't see that, you know, like Warsaw, I can't see it getting torn down, or, you know, we take care of, I don't know, Vickery, maybe. No.
Maybe you can do that one. No, I just think, I'm with you. I personally, you look at some of these new schools that these towns are putting up, and it's like, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
A $70 million school is not sustainable anywhere. And it's just, I mean, it's awesome, it's great, but it's, I mean, what is that? What happens to this when you put in a $70 million school? I mean, eat a little bit cheaper? Yeah, probably, but I mean, what's the payment on something like that? It's hard to understand how that ever works financially. But I'm glad we keep the old stuff going. I mean, I think it's a value to that. So
We're replacing a few windows in one wall at Warsaw, and it's been a room that, you know, even with a new heating system, hasn't heated well, and I'm trying to wrap into the grant spray foam insulation. You just have to be tricky with your wording so that it's, you know, it's connected to COVID, and you know, try to do some of those things to not just put the windows in, but put the insulation in, and
good stuff.
it's been a learning process.
Yeah, awesome.
Is the bus service, is that a contract year by year? Is that 2 or 3? Is it 3-year one, 2-year one?
We just did an extension, and we're at,
We have a 3-year, and then we just did a 2-year extension.
So you're locked in at a certain amount, no matter what the fuel goes up and on, doesn't it?
No, you can only lock in the contract,
Oh.
you can't lock in the diesel.
yeah, so that's another
Yeah, so-
kind of very big unknown. And we actually are locked in right now, so we looked at, well, how big are the tanks out there? And they're not very big, so even if we fill those, you know, by the end of summer school, we're trying to find all the ways that we can.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anything else, council? Is there anything else that you'd like to present or speak to?
Just that we'll keep you updated as changes happen, so you'll have the exact numbers before it goes to the board, school board. And you know, if you want to come to the school board meeting, love to have you.
Well, I got you penciled in for the 17th.
Okay, and April 4th, is that correct? Next school board meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, so April 4th is when they'll look at the budget if anybody's interested.
Here's one question. What caused the state valuation for the Detroit to jump so high?
Central main power.
Yeah, is it the substation?
Substation.
Yeah, because they've got, this is the second year in a row they've gotten hit hard.
But they didn't get hit at all the first couple of years it was there. So now they're really getting hit hard.
Did you say because of the substation?
Yeah. I know.
What is the reasoning there?
The-
Did
It's
they,
the amount of CMP property that we have in the town, in addition to the substation.
that's a private entity, that shouldn't affect, I don't understand that.
Yeah, the hard part with us is we have no control over that state valuation.
No, I understand that, but that makes no sense. I'm contracted to CMP working on the solar sites, and that doesn't make sense. I don't understand that.
Well, and my question is, what's going to happen like with the two new Puritan factories? Is that going to happen here in a couple of years? Is that going to drive our?
Yeah, that's, I don't think I can answer, I don't think we
Okay.
can answer that yet.
All right. Anticipating
Yeah.
my retirement date.
Our example.
I have to look it up in the dictionary, remember what that means,
Yeah.
that magical R word.
Yeah.
Do we know what caused the MCI contribution to go up so high?
I think a couple of things. There's been quite a lobby from the private school to look at their funding and the school formula that calculates the MAT. I've sat on a committee in Augusta with heads of school and superintendents and looked at some different issues. They don't feel, we pay full tuition for kids that go to MCI and also attend SCTC, because SCTC's, the technical schools are funded by the state now. But a lot of private schools who have school choice, like Erskine or Lincoln Academy, those kids have choice, so only 2/3 of the maximum allowable tuition follows them. But they've been kind of screaming that the tuition rate is only increasing, less than 1% for the last 3 years. So I think that's that's my guess. I don't know the reasoning. I try to, and when I budget, because we don't know what it's going to be until December. So in December, the maximum allowable tuition rate comes out, and we have to go back from when we started paying them in July or August and readjust and then pay that rate the rest of the year. So we pay on last year's maximum allowable tuition rate until we know the new one. So when I'm budgeting for next year, I'm going to calculate probably a 6% increase just to be safe, because everything's going up. It might only go up a percentage, but that's another reason we've been able to, we're carrying $540,000 fund balance forward to try and bring this budget down, or what your responsibility is. So.
Anything else, Council? Anything else you'd like to close with?
That's it. Just appreciate your support, and we'll continue to try and get that number down the best we can.
Oh, we know you will.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you all very much for your time. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. We're looking forward to seeing you in April and May.
All right.
And
Thanks.
June.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shelley. So let's move on to the presentation. We got the town's budget, Newark history. Catherine, if you'd like to review that, please.
Yes, very good. Our presentation regarding the town's budget and Newark history. I put together another handout for you that is on your council table, as well as the table up front for the audience. And so looked at all the municipal valuation figures for real estate, personal property, the total value, and then the homestead exemptions, all of the BETI, which is the business equipment tax exempt valuations, and what we get reimbursed. And I won't go through all of this evening. I'll give you a chance to take it home and look at it. But I will point out I did do a couple of comparisons. I also looked at the mill rate, the actual commitment over a 20-year period. So we have all this information over a 20-year period from 2001 up to 2021, and I did it by 5-year intervals, with the exception of having to use 2005 data, because 2006 we did not have all of the data available in the assessor's personal records. And so this was quite interesting when you compare, let's say 2011, because the same laws were in effect as now in 2021. And you can see that there is a significant decrease in personal property valuation. And that is mostly because personal property is being phased out as a taxation model. And it is then reimbursed to the town, perhaps 50% or 60%, depending on the formula, through the business equipment tax program, or the BETI, B-E-T-E. So you lose about 50% of the value that you would have had before. And so in our case, the personal property went down, but real estate went up significantly, so that was good. The homestead exemptions have gone up quite a bit because the state has increased that. The town receives approximately 50%, and then there's some extra exemptions that we get. And so when you put this all together, you can see that we had a net valuation of $16 million from 2011 up to 2021, mostly because all of these items are no longer part of the valuation. You have 50% of your homestead exemption is not reimbursed. 50% of Betty, or 60%, or 40, depending on the formula of that particular year. So this gives you an idea of why the mill rate is increasing. Along with that is the fact that the tax commitment has gone up. And if you look at the tax commitment over the years, you can see that as the town budget has increased, specifically from 2018 up, school budget increased, county budget has increased, the tax commitment is significantly higher. And so it's interesting to note that in 2001, back before there were all these exemptions and the personal property tax changed and everything, the town had 78.2% real estate to 21.8% personal property. So we were basically 80% real estate, 20% personal property, which is absolutely wonderful. And you do have to remember that some of the value of the businesses in terms of the structures are still in the real estate. So along with all the houses, you also do have the factories, you have the businesses and everything in that value. But the personal property was very huge for this town. Once the laws were changed, approximately 2006, 2007, with the phasing out of a lot of equipment not being taxed. Some items are not being taxed and there's no reimbursement. Some items are not being taxed and there's 50% reimbursement. And then some items are taxed. So the legislature had approved a law that would eventually phase out all personal property taxation. And so over a period of time, you can see the effect on the town. Now, we have had some businesses move out, some move in, but the changes in the law has been the major item. And so in looking at the valuation in 2021, a mill would be affected on your tax rate with a change of $9.8 million. So $9.8 million of valuation, either up or down, with nothing else changing, would have a change on the mill rate of 1. So you would go from the 2310, if you added on another 9.8 million and we were in 2021, the rate would go to 2210. If you lost 9.8 million, it would go to 2410. And then you can see here that we've lost in valuation from 2011 to 2021, $16 million. So this is part of why, the taxes continue to go up. There's been so many changes here. So this is a brief document for you to take home and look at. I've contacted Mr. Sally, who lives here in town and is an expert on the Betty program, so I can talk to him now that I've got all my statistics together and everything. And so prior to the next council meeting, I'll have talked to him about how the Betty all figures in. It looks to me like the amount of Betty and exemptions that we get from the homestead probably helps us by a mill, like it reduces our taxes by at least a mill. So I'll have him look over all of this and go into the specifics of the Betty program so that you can get a little update for the next meeting.
Great.
Thank you.
Why don't you go ahead and continue into the next section there, Catherine, you ready, please?
You got a question?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, did you have one?
No.
Catherine, also for the next meeting, can you confirm the certification rate for last year? I was under the impression it was much lower than that, actually. It shows here 100%.
Yeah, it is certified, and I can validate that this evening. The assessor certified for 2021, 100%. It's on his municipal valuation form. Now, 2022 may be a totally different story because of all of the properties that have sold
Yeah.
for outrageous prices.
Yeah, the only reason, the number that I had heard was 84%. That's why I was concerned about that, because that didn't make sense. You said it a couple weeks ago as well, and I had a question, but I was like, I'll ask again, and then I was told it was 84%. That's why I wasn't.
Yeah, it's on the municipal valuation form for 2021 filed November 1st, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
I think that in 2022 that will be totally different. Any other questions?
All right. Catherine, go ahead, please.
All right, good. Zipping along to the economic development. We have a number of items going on regarding Main Street and the new development that we talked about at the last meeting with the new programs that are available through the state, the transformative projects as well as the small spots projects. And so I reported, and won't go through the minutes, but made a copy for the minutes and had CDBG as Asbury project member Heather Donahue and Chip Haskell, our engineering consultant, checked those over and they verified that the minutes of the meeting was fine. So that was attached to your handout for this evening. And so that was very good. When we got through a meeting with the regional planner, he had noted that we were eligible for the small spots project. So this would be congestion, a sample would be congestion down by Somerset Plaza, up to 25,000 to do traffic calming. The congestion that takes place by Crosby Street with Main Street and the library, when recreation facilities are being utilized during the busy time. However, he had thought that we were too far along on our project to have a transformative project. So I did call and talk to the main planner, and he thought, that's Mr. Dowdy, that the town could become a partner with the Maine DOT on a Main Street vision. And this would be a document that would be put together over a period of time in which we would vision what we wanted for our downtown and what would be involved, and that the state would sign a memorandum of understanding with the town to pay for 50% of that vision. And so more information will be coming, but this sounded quite interesting. The one item that we will have to be careful about if we did decide to go forward with this is that the Main Street project is moving along here finally, so we would have to fit into the time schedule so that we didn't back up the project. And so Maine DOT is putting together some information, and this has come about because of discussions with Pete Vigu, in which he's looked at the project and has deep concerns, which I can understand, of the road construction and just leaving the concrete in, and then going out and fixing parts of the sewer line instead of fixing the whole sewer line. And you do have settling, and he is exactly correct. If we could find enough money that would be available, the right way is to go forward and fix all the lines, and for the state to take out all the concrete. But it is a matter of money. MDOT has indicated that once the vision is put together, they would assist us in applying for a grant to the federal government for a project. And so that project would come from the visioning. And we haven't had community visioning. We started to do that, and then because COVID hit. And so we stopped that project because we couldn't all get together. So more information will become available, and I will let you know. Maine DOT will be coming down to meet with the town, so anyone that's interested can go to the meeting. So that is where we are right now.
Would they not be available during a town council meeting?
Well, I think they could be.
I think that we'd have more input and involvement with that if we could ask them to do that.
Yeah, I think that could happen. So that was very interesting. So there's some new opportunities out there. And not many towns have been asked to participate in the visioning for the Main Street. There are 3 towns or cities that were mentioned to me. So I am to get copies of the RFPs so that we could put one out if we decided to go forward with this project. And so that information is coming to the town. And then the rest of this, you have a copy of all the different projects that we're working on and all of the grants, so I won't go through all of that. You have a copy and able to look at it. Thank you.
You're all set with Part C?
I am.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you very much, Catherine. So we'll move on to public hearings. There are none. We'll continue on to reports.
Wait, I have one question.
Yeah, sure.
On page 30, we're on page 35. You just went over all this stuff. On page 35, you've got 3, more or less, conclusion at the end there. 3 bullets. Is there any timeline on those? Or?
Okay, let me pull out the copy. I have all of my documents all divided up by the folders, so let me pull out
I'm just curious, Catherine.
the actual package.
Page 35, Brett, you're talking.
I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. page 35 at the bottom there, you know, if you look at the number.
Oh, okay, the bullet too, okay.
Yeah,
I was not seeing listed.
Yeah.
No, it's
So at
gotcha,
the
yeah.
end.
Last paragraph.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, so at the end, the engineering consultant, which is our engineering consultant, is to provide a copy of the design work to date to our regional planner. The town manager is providing a summary of the program planning and citizen involvement efforts to date to the planner. And the regional planner is going to review all these materials and then advise of possible funding opportunities. And then beyond that, I spoke with the actual planner in charge at Maine DOT, because at the meeting, it seemed as though we were only eligible for these small spots project. And Mr. Bigua thought we would be eligible for other projects. And so when I talked to the Maine planner, he brought forward this other grant program through the federal government that requires a visioning process. So we've sort of got two different things going at the same time. There's more grant opportunities now, likely because the state and federal government are getting more ARPA money and other monies. So this is one venue, and then the other venue would be the Main Street visioning with a federal grant involved.
Okay. And that's called VIP or VPI, that initiative?
Yes, let me pull that out.
It's not necessarily, I was just wondering if the same thing I
Yeah,
talked to.
yeah, it's the same thing you're thinking of from the last package, yes. Because it had the transformative project, which I thought we were, and the small spots project, which of course we do have. But the state has also mentioned there's another program beyond that.
Right. Yeah, that was the difference that we need to have clarified, is that the fact we're just looking at taking care of infrastructure, just has to be on Main Street. However, this program comes into play because now the Main Street is kind of like the face of the town, the welcoming point. So what do we want it to look like? So that's why it's been, this has grown into a multi-headed hydra since 2016 when we started talking about this.
Yes.
It's been 6 years so far, and another 2 to get it done. So, okay. You all set?
Yeah.
Who's on the advisory committee, other than Heather?
Heather is on Bob Stackhouse. There's two other people. I can't recall their names right now, but I will in a few minutes. We need more members.
So Heather and Bob.
We need more members.
All set?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Catherine. We'll go to Council Committee's Finance Committee.
We haven't met.
Okay, no report. Ordinance Committee?
No report.
No report. Recycling Committee? No report. No committee. All right, let's go to Board Committee updates. Catherine?
All right, very good. The Parks and Recreation Committee met at last week on March 9th and had a lengthy agenda, and they said the longest meeting they've ever had. But basically, they introduced a new recreation director, Jacob, and went through a wrap-up of the last season, an update on the rec website, and a workshop to launch. And then I went over also the credit card information and how everything was set up, and did take the training and got that all ready to go. They went over a rec logo competition, talked about the spring preparation work, because spring sports is very, very intensive, and so it does need a lot of organization. Talked about future season purchasing needs and having all of the jerseys or t-shirts all match up, which was a great idea. Talked a little bit about fundraising and grants, the fields and grounds work that they'll need to look at in the future once we get to a certain point in a new project that was approved by the council. Talked about the team pitcher contract and getting that up to bid, and then about getting ready for the pool as well as SOPs and capital plans. So it was a very busy meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If we can go on to the town manager's report, please, if we can hit the high points.
Yes, that's what I
Any
will
pertinent
do.
data? Thank you.
Definitely. So basically on the town manager's report, this is on the town website, and copies are out this evening for anyone that's interested, as well as in the council packet for the councilors. So the first items, number 1 through number 6, are items that are on each of the reports, because different people will tune in to these meetings based upon their interest. And so if we read this just once, or went over this just once, not everyone will hear it. And so by putting it on the town website and mentioning it very quickly now, I will not be reading it, but it is available. Number 1, Maine online burn permits became free of charge, and there is a website that people can go to, and that's advertised on the town website. 2022 transfer station stickers have been available, and by the numbers that we have, more people need to come in, but you only need to come in just before you're going to go to the transfer station. If you're not going, if you only go once a month, you just need to get your transfer station sticker before it's time to go. Dog licenses, online services, where the council packages are located on the town website, and thinking of the reuse center and Pennywise. And so for current and upcoming activities, number 7 is special election of town councilor open position. So we have 2 candidates that filed nomination papers by the deadline. Both papers were certified by the town clerk. Heather Donahue, a former mayor and town councilor, and Lindsay Holmstrom, Recreation Committee member and organizer for the skating rink, are running for the 1 seat available. It has a term that expires December 31st, 2022. The election to be held for councilor at large is on Thursday, April 21st. Everyone is encouraged to vote. Number 8 was the item that the mayor was referring to, the VPI, the Village Partnership Initiative. And so there was information that was available in your last package as well as this package. And you saw a copy of the minutes of the meeting that took place. And then there are other grant opportunities available beyond that. Number 9, the Maine DOT work plan for calendar years 2022, 2023, and 2024 is attached. And it does have our Main Street project listed with an earmark in the congressional budget, which is very good. So we've got that funding attached for the project as it exists now for $4,420,000. And then a lot of projects are in the work plan for bridge work. There's paving, there's interstate work. So this is very good. So that is available for the public, if anyone that's interested. I wanted to note number 10 on the council chambers and getting this all wired for sound better than it is now. We were offered the assistance of Chimbro's Chief Information Officer, who's in charge of all company locations. Mr. Rodriguez was very articulate and knowledgeable about IT. In fact, he was great. He talked, so I understood all of it, so that was good. On March 11th, he reviewed the council chambers, went over the digitization of paper records, went over collaborative needs for the department heads and other meetings with town employees digitally without going through Zoom, and about internet and Wi-Fi connectivity issues, which apparently everyone has. So he's going to be back in town in a week or so, and we'll follow up. He talked about how there's a certain camera that can be clipped onto the top of here that will be much better than the cameras that we have now, the ones that we've dangled up here and trying to get the room location. Will actually clip, which we have not been able to find on Amazon. So he's talked about that, and not for the sound, not having lapel for sounds or have things dangling from the ceiling, but using pods that would be on each side of the council chamber. So he's going to put some more information together, let us know where we can buy these things, and then talked about how Chimbro has digitized all their paper, and this was a major accomplishment and an expensive one. I did talk to Klein Smith early on and found that they spent over $200,000 digitizing their items, and we certainly have as much information. And I know that when we put this in the budget, it is the first thing to be taken out, obviously, if you have a budget crunch. So he had some ideas on that. And he will also do some testing of Wi-Fi, which is a challenge. Even though it works great, sometimes it doesn't work all of the time. And so Spectrum's been unable to fix this. And so he said he would look at that. So this is great. And so we'll have some recommendations shortly when he has time. I wanted to note our number 11, the 2022 speed trailer application. We did have speed signs that would be blinking that we were approved for from the Maine DOT with the speed trailer. This was over a year ago, but due to manufacturing issues with the supply chain, and now contract issues that Maine DOT is having with the company that got the award, these are all backed up. So they did give us the opportunity to apply for the speed trailer again, and this would bring the speed trailer to town, in which the sign is placed out by the road, and as the people drive up, it states your speed, which is sometimes scary on the roads that you're supposed to be traveling 25 or 30 or 35. So we would have that for 2 weeks, and if we were eligible and got awarded that, we are required to go pick it up and then get it ready so it can go to the next town. And we did do this before, it worked out really well. For surplus equipment, we've had some items that didn't sell back in late 2019, and as I noted for the counselors, we did sell 3 items and got good prices for those, so that was good. I wanted to note that we do have the Driftbusters 2022 trail map available at the town office, and this is a very nice map. Large print, shows all the towns, shows the routes and everything, and a great addition. Taken care of with the cost by the sponsors, so that was good. Anyone would like that, we have that available.
Put my name on one.
Okay?
And probably deputy mayor.
I have one.
Yeah. Did you work, please? Thank you.
Very good. So CDGB Advisory Committee is still looking for volunteers. One of the members is Simone Engelhardt, and I will think of the other name shortly. So we've also talked about the Clean Water State revolving loans, the drinking water, which is on the agenda this evening. Airport impact, this was wonderful. The town will be getting $159,000 for fiscal year 22 that we can use for the airport and not have to use it for, and not actually allowed to use it for the hangar. We'll be able to actually go out and do crack sealing, some professional pavement marking, so this is wonderful. And all of the general aviation airports got $159,000, like Waterville, for example. Some of the larger ones got a larger allocation. The airport rebid is due on March 24th due to the engineering error. And so we will see exactly where we will be on March 24th and whether the project is a go, or we go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how to pay for it if it is possible. Of course, it's gone out again at the worst possible time with all the construction costs going up and diesel and everything. We were able to get, for the paving, really good pricing for the sewer cleaning and video taping. So the prices were so low, I was able to approve those. So that was very good. So we'll have that information shortly. And then it'll be an interesting paving bid for sure. Because as you know, when diesel and unleaded and fuel go up, paving costs go up too. And then recreation director, we have our new recreation director, Jacob Marcoux, the number 21. He has started work and found it quite interesting. The MyRec site is up and going, and we did test it out, and people are able to input their applications and pay by credit card, or if they want to pay by check or cash, they can come to the town office when the recreation forms are out. And I think that is everything that I will mention right now, so that we can go on to other items. Lots of water and sewer projects ongoing here. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Catherine.
So, under new business, we have ordinance 22-04. Would it be possible, since this is set to public hearing, do we still need to have the reading on this?
We are supposed to read it. It is at
Okay.
least a shorter one.
Yep.
It's
No
not as
worries.
though I want to read it.
I just figured, really not much discussion this evening. It'll be a public hearing for the next meeting, but let's go ahead and do this so that we follow proper procedure.
Yes, if it wasn't for financial,
Yep.
encumbrances. All right, very good. Ordinance 22-4, set the public hearing on April 5th, 2022. Town of Pittsfield ordinance authorizing issue of up to $109,000 aggregate principal amount of general obligation bonds. The Town of Pittsfield Town Council hereby ordains the borrowing of up to $109,000 to finance costs of improvements to the town's water system through the State of Maine Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Program on the following terms. 1. Pursuant to the Constitution of the State of Maine, Maine law, including Title 30A, Section 5772, and Section 5953-B of the Maine Revised Statutes as amended, in the town charter, and all other authority thereto enabling, the town of Pittsfield is authorized to borrow from the Maine Municipal Bond Bank Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund, SRF, pursuant to one or more loan agreements between the town and the Maine Municipal Bond Bank, the bank, an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $109,000, and to expend the proceeds of the loan or loans to finance the improvements and upgrades to the town's water system, which may include but are not limited to the design and permitting work for sections of Birchwood Terrace and Library Street, Maine, the project, or such amount of the foregoing project as is approved by the state for participation in the SRF. It is expected that cost of the Library Street water main replacement will be up to $52,000, and the cost of the Birchwood Terrace water main replacement will be up to $57,000. The town hereby approves and authorizes the issue, sale, and delivery to the bank as evidence of any loans and against payment therefor. General obligation bonds of the town in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $109,000 for a term not to exceed 10 years, and any notes in anticipation of such bonds and notes to be executed on behalf of the town by the town treasurer and countersigned by the mayor of the town, and to be at such interest rates, if any, as may be established by the bank and approved by the treasurer and the mayor with such maturities, and to be on such further terms and conditions as may be prescribed by the bank and approved by the treasurer and the mayor, the bonds and the notes, such approval to be conclusively evidenced by their execution of the bonds or notes. If the bank approves only some but not all of the foregoing project as eligible for funding under its SRF program, the town is authorized to proceed with the borrowing of the amount and project approved by the bank, even though the state may have approved only some but not all of the project described above. 2. The mayor and the treasurer are hereby authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town one or more loan agreements relating to the issuance of the bonds and any notes in anticipation thereof in such form and on such terms as the bank shall require, which loan agreement is hereby approved and may contain such other terms and provisions not contrary to the general tenure hereof as the treasurer may approve, with his or her approval to be conclusively evidenced by his or her execution thereof. Number 3, the mayor and the treasurer are hereby authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town loan application and other applications to the bank for borrowing under its SRF program. Number 4, the mayor, the treasurer, and other municipal officers and officials of the town are hereby authorized to execute all documents and certificates and to take all action, including affixing the seal of the town as may be necessary or convenient to carry out the full intent of the foregoing votes of any one of them, and are hereby authorized and empowered in its name and on its behalf to do or cause to be done all such acts and things as may be deemed necessary or desirable in order to effect the borrowing authorized herein. Number 5, the town expects to receive principal forgiveness in a total amount of up to $109,000, which consists of $52,000 for the Library Street water main replacement and $57,000 allocated to the Birchwood Terrace water main replacement through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund grant allocation, a portion of which has been funded by the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan allocation of water infrastructure funding for funds received pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 and/or supplemental drinking water state revolving loan fund subsidies. To the extent these funds are provided to the town in the form of a grant, the town hereby appropriates such grant funds to be applied to the project, subject to the conditions of the funds to be administered by the Department of Health and Human Services, Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention Drinking Water Program. 6, this ordinance shall become effective in 30 days. The end.
Thank you, Catherine. I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I make a motion that we set to public hearing ordinance 22-04 on 4/5 of 22.
Second that.
Moved and seconded, thank you. Any discussion, council? All that work and no questions? Well, it's not worth it, right, Catherine? Council's all set? Anyone in the audience has any questions, comments? Anyone online that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Very well. That was quick and easy. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of setting ordinance 22-04 public hearing on April 5th, 2022, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Ordinance 22-04 will be set to public hearing on April 5th, 2022. Let's go to resolution 22-26, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-26. Resolved that the town council waive the bid policy, chapter 2, administrative code, section 106, to follow the state bid package for police cruisers and to accept the proposed bid of Polk Auto Group of Augusta in an amount not to exceed $34,425 for a 2022 fleet/non-retail Ford Police Interceptor utility.
I'll look for a motion from council, please.
Move we adopt resolution 22-26.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Any questions or comments, council?
I got a couple.
Please.
I know back when we did the budget, we approved to go ahead and buy some new vehicles. But I'm curious with the police vehicles. I'd like to almost see like let's say a spreadsheet of what vehicles we have, the year they are, the mileage they have, and how much, we'll say, expense each year or in the past year we've had to put into it before we say we need to go buy another one. Especially with the upcoming price of fuel and everything. We know the projects we want to do this summer as far as improving roads. I would assume the price of fuel, hot top's going to go pretty high. So either we're going to end up not doing so much hot top work, or we have to get some other money because it's going to be a significant increase. So before I would say we go ahead and buy another cruiser, I'd like to see, the vehicles are probably still working right now. It ain't like they're all old. I know all of us don't have all brand new vehicles, and you can drive a vehicle for quite a while.
So you would entertain tabling
Yeah,
this?
yeah. I'd like to have some more information. What they have for cruisers, the years, they are, the mileage, and what we had to put for expense into them. If we're not putting much expense into them, it seems like we're trying to buy a nice to have instead of a really need.
What is the schedule? Is there I'm just educational, like for me, is there a schedule like every 3 years they buy a new one, or how does that work? What is that based
I
on?
believe that is. I wish Chief or one of the other officers in the department could speak to that, but there is a certain cycle that they go through before it gets to the point where the repairs become.
We just got a new one last year, right? We got from Clinton.
I believe so.
That's the one we bought from Clinton and outfitted it, so we got a new one last year. Am I correct, right, Heather?
Oh, we sold our old one to Clinton.
Yeah, that was okay.
Sold the old one.
All right, well, we got a new one. We got a new one, sold the old one.
You replace 4 every 5 years. So every year you replace one, except for the 5th year you don't replace one.
It used to be every 2 every 3 years, then it went to 4 every 5 years.
Right. So that's the schedule that we're on. That's what this comes about.
So-
I mean, not buying it, that money's not going to go towards. You can't just take that money and put it on paving, can you?
You would have to declare that there was not a need, and then you can reallocate it. You have to go through a certain process. You have to indicate that we do not need a new vehicle.
Okay, so to Brent's point, if we did table this today, is this going to be off the table in 2 weeks? Like, is this price going to change in the next 2 weeks, or can we get the more information that
Well,
Brent
the maximum price
wants?
qualify that quoting here, don't they?
Well, we're looking to waive the bid policy, right? We're only, basically what we're doing today is say, all right, instead of having 3 bids, we only need 1.
I will say the police administrative assistant did go to these other locations and talk to them and try to get bids. And generally, they would make statements that you always go with the state bid, the state police bid, which this is what it is. So there was an attempt to get other bids.
Next page, you got 3 bids, you only got 1.
Right.
So
I was
my,
going to speak to Eric's comment about this is to waive the bid policy. However, if we approve waiving the bid policy, this is what will be procured per the budget. To Brett's point, he wanted to entertain the idea of getting more details as to the state of the vehicles now, and if we could prolong this probably till next budget year. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, push off a year.
So we are waiving the bid policy, seeing that we only have 1, but otherwise, if we had multiple, we would pick which one out of those 3, and that one would be purchased. So action tonight, if it's approved, will include the purchase. Just a second.
So is it possible where we had fewer officers over the past year and a half that we put fewer miles on our vehicles? I mean, is this a year? Are we doing this based off age or based off depreciation of mileage? I mean, I don't buy my vehicles based on age.
Well,
typically.
to Brent's point, I don't know the status of them. I don't know the years of them. I don't know the mileages on them. You know, I don't know if there's been any significant work required or scheduled to be done. I mean, it's a valid point to table till the next meeting to give Chief Bickmore, if he's able, or at least Acting Chief Marty McDonough, time to gather that information. I assume it should be available.
yeah, I would talk to the acting chief, so the
Right.
police chief can rest.
I'm assuming the wear and tear is pretty easy on them, considering the average speeds.
It's
25
more on
miles
the
an hour.
police vehicle.
Right when they're cruising here, sitting most of the time.
Well, maybe, but if you do that 18 hours out of every day of the year, I'm exaggerating to make a point.
Understood.
Well, maybe that's 300,000 when we get rid of it. I don't know. Like, I think it'd be good to know that.
Yeah, like what the mileage is, you know.
Yeah.
You get a
Right.
Well,
rough
that's
idea.
fine.
But as Jason had asked, it's 4 every 5 years. So when we get to the last one, this one would theoretically replace one that's 5 years old, if we go by that process. So that we get to the point where we get all the goodness out of it, we can still get a decent resale on it or a trade-in, and there's no significant repairs like rebuilding transmissions or engines. I mean, anything after that, especially being a police cruiser, the wear and tear that gets. That's, you push 5-6 years, you're pushing a lot.
So this particular utility would be the last, like Taurus size one, the one that the police chief has, would be replaced with the utility, the bigger one. So this replaces the police chief's car.
Right, which we knew he had significant issues with that vehicle. He was talking about it last year. I can't remember the specifics. Handling was all jacked up. He had some significant issues with it. I certainly wouldn't want to be responding to something just of importance in a vehicle that is not reliable, and he stated that last year.
So he can produce the work history on it.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't.
No.
I mean, that's what, I assume so. Well,
Yeah, he said-
although he didn't report half of it, he said.
He said it was significant items, so he should have a record of it,
Right.
which Marty can get.
Which, I mean, I mean, we can get that again. We already got it once last year, that's why we approved it.
I
So
know,
that record should be available, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it should be.
We should have.
Yeah, if you had significant problems with your vehicle and you go in, they'll give you a sheet that states exactly
Yeah.
what's wrong. They
No,
run
I'm
out.
assuming the secretary probably can find that. Oh, yes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if he supplied that at a.
We won't wait 2 weeks, and whatever, doesn't matter to me, but I'm just saying that he did prove it last year. You can,
I'm just looking,
you can prove it, I know what you go, I know where
I'm just
you're
looking
going.
at where we're gonna just start squeezing some.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, just a second.
not sure if we want to yet on that particular one.
Yeah.
And maybe during budget time, we look at that cycle and see if we can get, more out of what we have.
So,
But I agree, waiting 2 weeks doesn't make or break us.
Craig?
I just had a question kind of on this topic, but do we know if they're fitted with hour meters also on top of the mileage? Because they spend a significant amount of time on idle, right?
Yes.
Parked in on idle. And that will obviously deteriorate that even faster because it's not a, right? So I guess I would like to know that too. And if not, can they be outfitted with that so that in years to come, can that be part of it, right? So that
I imagine the electronics and all the new vehicles have that anywhere you can't drive on the road with
also,
seatbelt on
it's
down
accurate, right?
downloading it.
Engine runtime and whatever. Yeah.
That certainly could be the information that could be available. Before we go to the motion table, just in case it does get tabled, I'd like to go to the audience that may have any questions or comments. Heather, you had something?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you know, Catherine, where we are in the 4 out of 5 year cycle. Are we at the 4th year, or like would next year be the skip year?
I don't think so. But we are coming up on it, but I don't think we are.
Because I think
We're close to it.
the Taurus for the chief was the vehicle that we bought the year after he started, because he didn't have a dedicated vehicle. Am I remembering that
Yeah.
correctly?
He did
That
have-
sounds familiar.
He did have a dedicated vehicle. It wasn't a great one though.
Right. But this is the one one of the ones that came into cycling, would be cycling out.
Yes.
So it's at
Yes.
least 4 years old.
What's that? Anyone online wish to speak to this matter?
This is Vernon Williams on 15 First Street. I will tell you from my son's experience with the state police that once these things get, in their case, about 125,000 miles, the maintenance cost pretty near doubles. What they found out with their cruiser. Now, I don't know how many miles these guys be on, but I think I've killed the engines when they did in the transmission. I can attest to that from all the hours that my pickup items that fires and accidents and stuff. It's not good for it.
So I
Oops.
go ahead.
Just based on the capital improvement plan from last year, this is the second year of the 5-year plan, so
Okay.
whatever that does for us, I don't know. But I don't know, waiting 2 weeks doesn't make a difference. If it doesn't make a difference, then
I suspect we'll get
That's
the
fine.
vehicle, but this is helpful information. I think this would be good to put into the budget documents.
Yeah, absolutely. We should be building. Thank you, Bernard, for speaking. Thank you, Heather. So if the council wishes to consider tabling this motion, we have an active motion on the floor to, to waive the bid policy. So who made that original motion?
I did.
Did you? If you wish to rescind that motion, then we can put a motion to table and we can discuss it at the next meeting. In the meantime, we would ask Acting Chief McDonough to provide that kind of information.
I'll help him.
Okay, very good.
And I'd like to rescind the motion that I made for resolution 22-26.
Okay, we have an open floor. Brian, would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this for the next meeting with some more information. Yeah, some more, just so we all clear what we're looking at.
second.
Motion been seconded. Questions or comments? Council?
Just for future items like this, if we have that information, putting it in, and now there's a lot in the packet already, but if we have, that should be like a one-sheeter of, maintenance costs in the
Actually,
last 4 years or whatever it might
If
be.
I might want to do you one better, because I know we get to the point where we have one council talks about the budget, and then new council comes on and they want to reiterate that. Just a little note, this has already been approved per budget and whatnot. I understand that, but, the councils are the councils.
Yeah.
So that may help identify like a little star next to, okay, this has already been discussed previously for the new council, because we have two, and eventually we'll have a third potentially.
Right.
Any other discussion, council? All right, very well. All those in favor of tabling Resolution 2226 till the next meeting, which is April 5th, 2022, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. We will table Resolution 2226 till the next meeting. Also with a caveat, we have some information prior so that the council may review. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, if we would, let's move on to Resolution 2227, please. This may be keyhole to it.
Resolution 22-27, resolved that the town council waive the bid policy, Chapter 2, Administrative Code, Section 106, to accept the proposed bid from Yankee Communications in the amount of $10,365.49 for equipment to outfit a 2022 Ford Police Interceptor utility.
I'd like to make a motion that we table Resolution 22-27.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussions, comments, council?
So these, I see on these bid, when they go out to bid, they don't have a term of how long that quote is good for. That's usually on there, isn't it?
I did see that, but it was up on the bottom of the page in very small writing. It says it was updated on March 7th. It was an update.
Okay. Anyway.
Very small print.
Yeah, very small.
So this obviously...
I was looking for the same thing.
Yeah.
This obviously is action required for Resolution 2226. If for some reason that we do not approve 2026 at the next meeting, it would be unwise for us to approve 2227 now. Any questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments for anyone online? Very well, council, we're all set. Very well, hearing no other questions or comments, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of tabling Resolution 22-27 till the next meeting on April 5th, 2022, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 2227 will be tabled till the next meeting, April 5th, 2022. Catherine, if you will, please. Resolution 2228, please.
Resolution 22-28, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute a contract for animal control officer services and appoint an animal control officer.
Move we adopt Resolution 22-28.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from the council?
So do we have an animal control officer in our budget?
We have the funding in the budget. The police officers have been covering as best as they can, but we are coming up to a more busier period of time for the animals to be
I'm trying
running
to remember
around.
if we separated that out.
You did separate it out, so at that, it's in the animal control budget as a contracted position, back to the way it used to be after a few years as a employee position.
Right.
And so Connie Cummings, who was our prior animal control officer, did a wonderful job, said that she would come back and cover this for as long as we needed it.
Anything else, council? Anyone in the audience wish to speak?
Is this a flat contract, or is it somebody paid by the visit, or paid by the hour, or paid by the
By the paw.
part? You know, what's the unit here?
Yeah, that's still, we're still waiting for the pricing from Connie, but if it's the way it was in the prior agreements, it could be by month or it could be by call. We will negotiate this out for a reasonable amount. I suspect it will be per month.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of a lot of ACOs were doing by month, so they could actually
Yes.
kind of plan their living, I guess. If you're expecting 15 calls and you get 4,
Yeah. Or $5.
and you're expecting that money in income,
Yep.
I think that's kind of what we talked about last year, and kind of the only fair way to necessarily do it, I
I would
guess.
agree. So I suspect it will be a fee per month, and we have monies in the budget. I don't suspect we will use all the monies that are in the budget for the number of months that we have left. And there would be a mileage charge too. So a monthly fee plus mileage to the animal facilities and to the customers' homes or the roads.
So is there so much animal traffic that the police department can't handle this?
They would prefer not to. What happens is that there's a lengthy delay if they're on a call and the animals are running around in the middle of the road, and that has happened before. I've had that happen in other towns too. The police have covered a lot of calls, but we are coming to the busy period of the year. Connie has agreed to do this, on a temporary basis. If we don't need her at a certain point, it becomes quiet. I mean, she said that was fine. She just wanted to help out the town because we are supposed to have an animal control officer. And she did a great job. She loves animals.
And if there are animals picked up, we're obligated to take it to the nearest facility, which is what, Waterville?
Yes, that's our facility now.
So there's an officer tied up. Anything else, council? Anyone here in the audience wishes to speak? Anyone online wish to speak to Resolution 2228? Very well. Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 22-28, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 2228 passes. Catherine, if you would please, Resolution 22-29.
Certainly. Resolution 22-29, resolved that the Town Council authorize the use of American Rescue Plan Act funding for important town projects.
Now look for a motion from council, please.
So where this was tabled, do we need to make a motion to take it off of the table?
Actually, no, it was a table till this meeting. And we're just activating it for discussion, isn't that correct?
I think we're all set because it's on
Yeah.
the agenda.
Okay. I move we adopt Resolution 22-29.
A second. Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. So with this one, you see on the third page, it's the same format we had that we discussed last time. Any changes? I don't have my other one to compare to, Catherine. Can you give us a Reader's Digest of any changes on this?
Yes, certainly. So we did have some changes. I didn't think we were, but on the last day, we did get a request from the librarian to get a purification ionization system, the unit that we have here, which is evidently the best unit that you can get, that the fire chief got for us. And that also brought to our attention that, and based upon what has been going on, it would be good if we were able to have an additional unit upstairs rather than lugging this one up and down and dropping it, which has happened here. So that would be one change. And then the major change that came in was a request from Somerset County for the town to contribute ARPA funding or other funding toward the update of the whole dispatch console system. And so there was a write-up that the administrative assistant for the police chief put together with information she got from the police chief and from the county. And so I did put that in the package, but explained to her that we would have to have more information to put this on the agenda. We would put this in with the ARPA items so that the councilors would know that there is a request from the county that we contribute $100,000 toward the new updated dispatch center and the software and everything.
So is that above and beyond the, what's it, the antenna and repeater or the booster that we're putting up on Powers Road?
Yes.
That's above and beyond this.
Yes. From my reading of this, and I haven't seen anything like this before, because usually these things are paid for in the county budget or like county ARPA funding. This is their whole platform. It's like a really large Trio system that we have and are updating, which we put in the budget. So this is like a big platform system, and it looks like, I did get a call from one of the other town managers that heard about this, but she had heard that they were going to pay $50,000. And at that time, I had a document from Amy about a project with the same company that was going to cost like a little bit under $5,000. So that was for a different project. We did conclude, but different figures are coming out. So there's a lot more information that would be needed before anything would be allocated.
So technically,
Mr. Mayor, if I might, I think I can clear up some of your questions.
go ahead, Bernard, please.
Okay, what this is, the CAD system at the county dispatch right now, the company that had bought out the original company has said that as of, I believe it's December, they will no longer do anything with they've stopped putting out updates, they'll band-aid it until I believe it's December, and then you're on your own with it. The total cost of replacing this is about $700,000 for the county.
So why would Pittsfield be on the hook for $100,000?
Because there are only 4 police departments that use it and the sheriff's department.
Now we use it because of choice, though, correct?
Only unless you want to do your own dispatch. They're only going to have one system out there to dispatch with. One CAD system.
So Bernard, out of Somerset County, there are only 4 municipalities that use the dispatch system.
They use the police dispatch. And this CAD system is strictly for that. The fire departments have decided that it's not worth the money that it costs for us to put in the piece that goes to the fire departments. I don't remember what that price was, but it was considerable per department, and it really doesn't do us any good. The only thing we can get without it. But so you've got what? Fairfield, Skowhegan, us, the sheriff's department, and I guess they're considering Madison now as part of the sheriff's department. So basically, you got 4 departments.
Right,
but the councils and selectmen in these towns go to the county and say, look, why don't you pay for all of this because you got $9 million instead of dinging the town. It's all, and your portion of it is set on how many licenses you need. And it's my understanding that for every cruiser and for the dispatch or for the office next door, you have to have a license, and they are in the vicinity of $10,000 each.
So if it's a Somerset County issue, why is Fairfield involved?
The Fairfield and Somerset County.
Fairfield's in Somerset County?
Yes, it is.
It looks like it isn't, but it is.
What do all the other towns do that are in Somerset County? Fairfield, they're not using this.
Always has been.
The other towns have the sheriff's office, so they're considering it part of the county tax, I guess. But we have a police department, so they're stating that we need to contribute.
Right, but there's other towns within Somerset County that have a police department. What are they using?
if there's only this Skowhegan, Pittsfield, and Fairfield, I believe, are the only three towns, because Madison turned theirs over to the sheriff department.
So we are the only police department.
There's the only three that have a police department in this county.
All the others have just sheriffs?
Sheriff and the state police.
Including Madison now. They turned their police
Right.
department down.
Because they contracted, what Madison did was they contracted with the sheriff department to provide them somebody there dedicated to their Madison.
Isn't Clinton Somerset County?
That's Waldo. No, Kennebec.
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 That makes sense.
So, these licenses, like I said, in the vicinity of $10,000 each. My understanding, you need one for each cruiser and for the dispatch, or where the chief's office is upstairs. Part of the expense of this is that every dispatcher has got to go be trained on this, which means you've got to pay them, but you've got to pay somebody to take their place while they're at the training.
So let's say we go into this and get into it and we pay the $100,000. What's the bill next year?
I don't know that. There is an upkeep to it. There is I suspect, a yearly, but in the past, I believe that has all been picked up in the county communications budget. It's just the initial cost of this that they're not willing to. They get, like I say, they get $9 million, I believe, at county level, and I would think the $700,000 could come out of that.
I think we should push back a lot more.
Well, I know, but I would think that, the council here and the council in, or whatever, I guess it's council in Fairfield and the selectmen and Skowhegan, would be being on the commissioners and saying, okay, we're picking up the sheriff's job in our town, so the least you can do is pay for the dispatch.
So, I guess my feeling on this, there's way too many questions on this. I'm certainly not comfortable at all putting one penny, let alone 100,000 on this, because this is something new coming down the pike. We don't know if we have yearly obligations, or if we do, what the amount is. Is the county responsible for it, or they're trying to shed some of their financial load on this? I don't see how we can entertain this, but certainly if it's worthy of consideration under the ARPA funds, I don't know if we can decide the ARPA funds and close it this evening. We can certainly, I guess a suggestion would be that we can go through the list of what's on here and approve some, if there's some that we wish to approve now, just to get the ball rolling on those and have this continued. I mean, that's my idea, because this is a significant chunk of the pie here.
Right.
So
I agree. And the big item that we need to make a decision on tonight, because it impacts the loan that we're trying to take out, is the SCBA's.
yes.
Beyond that, we don't have to spend a nickel, so.
Yep, so we can certainly do that. We can decide, pick and choose. We can go through the list. We can certainly do everything from no to everything, no to this, and yes to that, or yes to this, and we'll talk about the rest later. I mean, we have a number of options here. Now that we know the ARPA funds covers that much more. Thank you, Bernard, for that information.
Yes, that was more information than I've received to date. That's helpful.
So let's continue down the list here. Catherine, were you going through?
Certainly. So under consideration, we've committed $90,185.69 of our $421,829.50. So we have $331,643.81 available. So the first item, and the item that's been here for quite some time, and I keep coming back because it's a necessary item, is the SCBA in the tanks. He notes 20 units are necessary. The cost was $161,317. There was carry forward monies in the last two budgets in anticipation of this and other PPE items. So subtracting the 13,000 out would leave us with the need for $148,317. Would you like me to continue, or?
Let's just hold on 1 second, then, please. Where are you getting the 148? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Yeah, after the
So,
carry forward.
question on that, Bernard, you still with us?
Bernard? We have a question. Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey,
Listen.
Bernard, can you clarify something for me? I understand that there are or may have been some SCBA's that were still in the boxes. Is that true or no?
That is true, but they're the old 2216 PSI on 4500s. And they're the same age as the 4500s that we have now.
But if they're in the box, the age is kind of a moot point, correct?
No, they came to us used. They were given to us used.
Really?
We did nothing we paid for. They didn't come. We didn't get them new. The models on them are outdated and not being high road, and we're going to run into the same problem. And we're going to have a mismatch because we're going to have 2216 bottles and 4500 pound bottles.
So what is your plans for those bottles that aren't used?
They're going out to an auction this spring. There's a company that comes in, puts this stuff out to auction, and you get what you get out of it, and they get their money off whoever buys it.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Bernard. Okay, so we're looking at out of the 331,643.81. The next one that's been talked about ad nauseum is 148,317 for the SCBA's. Correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Brings us down to 183,326.
Okay, 183,326.
Plus or minus.
So we had the bulletproof vests that were on the original listing.
Yes, and we did do an inventory of all the officers. Amy, the assistant, got the information. There are 7 officers that need the vest and the carrier unit, and then 2 officers that need the vest only. And there were 2 officers that we found through this, one for a while, and one's the manufacturing expiration date just came up, and I told them just get their bulletproof vests, just do it, because the date they had expired.
Okay, so we have SCBA units, which are a necessity. The bulletproof vests, which are a necessity. Now that leaves the remaining funds of the highway project, water project, sewer project, other projects, the council chamber sound video upgrade, and the CART, the Somerset County's dispatch console, which I really don't think we can make action on that this evening, at least intelligently. So I will look to council for direction. What is your wish? Yep, 1 second. All right, chew on that, Heather.
I had a question. Catherine, do you recall if there was funding from the 2022 budget that was unspent for vests that weren't expended, that was carried forward?
There wasn't any money carried forward. It wasn't one of the carry forward items.
It wasn't?
No.
Okay.
And they do have some money in the budget already for vests. So let's say an officer leaves and the vests are for that particular officer, there still is funding in the regular police budget.
And would that be taken out of the proposed purchase here of the 12,005? Like what's already set aside in the operating budget, would that be applied this year so that full amount wouldn't be needed?
All right, so they've already spent, they've gotten 2 carriers and 2 bulletproof vests already.
So that's included in the inventory that was just
And that's
done.
in the budget.
So this is just what's remaining.
This
of
is
the
what's
ordinary.
remaining. And usually the part-time officers bring their own, but this was an opportunity the police chief saw to provide them with one. And most of them, you would think would get the carrier because that helps their backs.
Now, if, with the regular officers, if we purchase their vest and then they leave, they have to buy the vest off of us, correct? If there's
They
time
don't
remaining.
have to, but normally they would want to because they go to the next police department with a vest that has years on it. And so we have sold them to the officers for the proration of the time left. If it was from a grant and we paid nothing, we did not charge them.
But it's a department asset, right? And we're managing expiration dates, we're buying them as an asset of the town, right?
That is correct,
So
but
at
they're
the
for
point
that
when they leave.
particular officer. They only fit the officer.
Well, I would question that though.
Well, according to the officers.
Well, because they're gonna be, yeah.
And according to the state criminal justice academy. I'm sure that once in a while, somebody's to take sides.
Okay. So I'm looking at the SCBA units of total new price of $148,317 added to the $12,500 for the bulletproof vests. That's a total of $160,817, and out of the balance of $183,326, that leaves $22,509.
You subtracted the 148 twice, I think.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
So
Did I?
yeah, it leaves a balance of 178.2669.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on.
178.26.
So okay, hold on. So 148,317
Yep.
Yeah.
plus the 12,500,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's 168,17.
Right. Subtracted from 331.
331. You're absolutely right. So that leaves a balance of, what was that?
178.26.
170,826.
170.826.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Could we consider the two purification systems so that the library has one and the town has one upstairs?
Well, we have two down here that are presently being used.
Well, they are presently being used. They're used for the meetings, but lugging them up the stairs has resulted in some accidents, and they are expensive, lugging
Do
into
we
the
need,
elevator.
do we need two of them down here?
Yeah.
According to the fire chief, yes, and the company that sold them. So yes, my idea was to take one upstairs and use it, which we have, but it has been dropped a couple of times now.
I'd take the two upstairs and not worry about this room, in my opinion, but.
So,
Or put one upstairs and put one in the library and don't buy any more.
For a room that gets used, whatever, every 2 weeks, 3 hours.
Yeah, and look how far apart we are.
Right.
Well, it
I'm gonna
also
worry
helps
about
with the room and the wetness of the room, which wasn't too bad. I never realized it was musty until people told me.
I mean, it's,
so I guess what we could do, we now have 160,817 added with a balance of 170,826. So as was mentioned prior, we're not obligated to complete this list this evening. We can certainly take action on the items that we choose, that are given or that we're certain about. I mean, we can. Go
What's the
ahead.
breakdown of the highway projects that we're looking at for the 121,826?
It was going to go toward paving.
So that was just a
It
lump
was,
sum.
it was the
that amount.
it was the difference after all of the items had been brought in at all the meetings until the extra 100,000 showed up at this meeting.
Okay, so if we set aside the 100 and say that we're going to still consider that, right, because we haven't made a decision, that leaves us with 70,826. So if we were to set aside, say, 50,000 tonight for additional paving money, leaving us $20,000 for emergency contingency fund, something like that.
Well, we have, let's see here. Yes, we have reserve, $23,000 in reserve.
That was the bonuses.
And that's
That was the
already,
bonuses, that's gone.
Oh, that's right.
That was the original one.
that was, that's
When the
already.
rules were different.
Yeah, rules.
The rules changed pretty quickly there.
Yeah, that was, save us right there.
On the water project, what is the VFD? Didn't we already approve the VFD?
Oh, that's the funding for the project that went out to bid.
That variable frequency drive for the speed of the pumps.
Right.
We had borrowed one.
Right, I thought we had already paid for it, right? We already had our bid.
We had the bid, but there's a backup one.
This is the twin to that one, because that one we already approved to get fixed. Is this the other one? So now they're the same?
They're both
We talked about
old.
that
They
last
both
week.
were old, so this second one is going to go to.
Right. Then what we talked about is swap them both out, the same make and model, take this one off the wall, put it down for just in case backup.
It'd be the backup.
Ordinary use, but
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
So really, we only have 30,000 to play with.
So that one's kind of a must do.
Well, yeah, but you're,
right. Yeah, but you're excited to do it.
If you approved all these except the 100,000 and only approved the 21,426 of the paving, that leaves you the 100,000 in limbo, waiting if you're going to do something either way. Either you put 100 on the paving or you put 100 on the Somerset repeater dispatcher.
So what you're saying is,
You could approve them all.
yeah, let's say, let's go down the list here. So the SCBA's will be 148,317.
Yep,
The bulletproof vest 12.5.
yep.
The highway projects, the whole amount.
No,
So it's gonna skip that.
I'm saying,
Okay, go to the next one. So the 40,000 for the VFD,
yeah,
the 4,400 for the purification,
yeah,
the 5,000 for the videos.
right. Because if you approve all these, you're, and you tally up down below, you're over by 100,400.
Right.
Okay, so if you back out 104,000, 100,400 out of the 121, okay, then you have that 100,000 available for the dispatcher, or put it back on the paving.
So you're saying take the highway projects, make that 21,826?
No, 426. So,
Yep.
so you'll cover of the 400 that we'd have left.
I think I would leave that in a contingency fund before I would assign that to the highway project until we get our bids. I think I would leave that just in an open
Or
reserve.
we can leave that as is after we do the math as Brian has suggested. Leave that as is, and because I assume if we get information on this communications for the police department,
Yeah.
we'll have to come. We're obliged to come back and revisit this list anyway.
That's right. So just eliminate the highway project portion you're saying for now?
Leave it as such instead of
Yeah.
completely putting it out, putting it in reserve after we have this deduction. Okay, so bear with me for the record here. So we're going to have SCBA is going to be 148,317. That's a given.
Yep.
The vest 12.5. That's a given. Can somebody do the tally on this as we go? Jason, can you do that?
okay.
The water projects 40,000. Correct.
Yep.
The other projects, purification, 4,400. The council chambers, 5,000.
210, 217.
Okay, 210, 217.
And add in the 90, 185, right?
Now, hold on. So what?
217.
What's that?
That's what I got to.
210, 217, right?
Okay, so those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items total $210,217, right?
Yep, okay.
So what's your,
And then, so if you added the 90,185, 69, right, for that.
No, hold on, where you get the 90,185, 65?
That's what we've already,
That's already been spent, so we just need to look at the number below that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, it's not, we're not gonna look at that, I'm just
Don't
looking
even
at
look at that.
okay,
Just look at the 331.
yeah, 331, subtract that from 331.
Okay. So 331, 643, minus 210, 217, I have 121,426.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, no, I'm trying to, because Brett, if we're gonna make a motion on this, we have to have the numbers right. That's why I'm going with this. Get off my back.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I was doing, yeah.
I'm slower than you,
I was
okay?
doing mad.
I work better with pictures.
Okay, you're something my wife.
So if we take the 331, 643, we take out 210, 217, that leaves us 121, 426. We have 5 added projects, we have 121, 426 left. So what's your proposal with that?
Nothing, just send
You
it
just
in
leave that there?
for now.
Just leave that there.
Okay, so you say 1, 2, 3, 4, just
I didn't know if you
include
wanted.
those 5 projects as is.
Yeah.
I think.
And then that'll give us, if we decide the 100,000 is justified on its communications, gives us that.
Yeah.
And then that's where you're coming up with the 21,000, some change, possibly, if not highway, then to contingency fund sometime. Okay,
Not to throw a wrench in it, but I still don't.
but you are.
Yeah, sure, I will. I mean, I still don't agree with the purification.
No, I'm with you on
I mean,
that.
the library's huge, and there's not that many people in that building.
I agree with you. And
These two, we don't even need them necessarily.
I agree with you. The reason these came about because of the COVID pandemic.
Right, and that
We have no shields, we have no
situation
masks.
is completely different than it was at that time. We look at it, yeah, 4,400, who cares, big deal. Well, it all adds up. So, in my opinion, you can put that one in the library, you can put that one upstairs, and we can probably.
But a building like the library is so huge, it'd have to be a
Well, I know.
central system.
Well, they-
I know, but you're going to spend 4,400 for 2 of these in the library. That
So
you know is not
just
going to make a
say-
difference anyway.
Yeah, Catherine, please.
So at the library, they would utilize it by the small offices, and in the small offices and where the desk is. You wouldn't put it out in the middle of the library because it wouldn't work.
And how many people are in these offices at one time? Aren't they individual offices?
They are, when I've been there, you can see 5 or 6 people milling around, not more.
I wouldn't spend $2,200 for a purification system in a tiny office. Go to Walmart and get one for $100, I'm sure.
So if we table that for now, because it sounds like the discussion, we add that 4,400 back to that, we're what, 125,826 is the balance. So that 125,826 includes the 148,317 for the SCBA's, the 12,500 for the bulletproof vest, the 40,000 for the water projects, and the 5,000 for the sound and video.
We really can't.
Mike, I
do
got a
it.
comment on the 5,000 for the video. I mean, if Russ Rodriguez can come over here and do an evaluation,
Yeah, we can't do
I
it.
hate to put money aside now. I mean, you better have to put that to the side and sit and see what his recommendation is.
Yeah.
Before
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah. So you want,
I'm saying,
You want to take 5,000
I'll
for
do the 4 things that are really important to us: SCBA's, the bulletproof vest, and the VFD. Those 3 items. Get it approved tonight, and then the rest of the fat we can take care of differently.
okay, so here's where we stand based on your suggestion. That's a 130.26. So with out of the $331,643 available, we take out 148,317 for the SCBA's,
Yep.
12,500 for the bulletproof vests, and $4,000 for the water project, specifically the VFD.
40,000.
40,000.
Yeah, 40. Isn't that what I said? 40,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's done. It's
So
208.17.
it's approximately what's that?
208.17.
What's the balance off the 331? Is what I'm looking at.
130.
138.26.
26.
There you go.
I mean, those are certain. We can get traction going on those right now. Those are inarguable, I believe. We chewed on those and chewed on those. So if it's the council's will, we can approve those 3 items for now. Keep this list current, keep this matter current, and we can bring it up at the next meeting. And we'll just keep chewing away until it's gone. The council in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would suggest that we revise the motion to include those 3 items. Pete, did you make that motion?
I made the motion.
Okay, so with that as a current motion, easiest way, I know there's a
Just
way
make a
to do
motion
it for
to
Robert's
amend.
rules. Just rescind that motion and make a re-motion, approve resolution 2229 as noted. And then identify SCBA's for that, bulletproof vests for that, and water projects for that. And balance to be discussed at future meetings.
That's a lot of words.
I know.
Yeah, we'll bite this out.
You said that all.
Come on, Deputy Mayor.
I'll resend my motion for resolution 22-29.
Okay.
Looking for a new motion.
You can say that's all you're
Yes.
missing out on.
Somebody
That
else.
was easy.
Go, Greg.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 22-29 to include 3 items: SCBA tanks, the bulletproof vest / carriers, and the $40,000 for the VFD, totaling $200,817, leaving the balance of $130,826.81 as a contingency
For future discussion.
for future discussion.
I'll second that.
That's exactly what I meant to say.
Future Deputy Mayor over here.
He's picking up.
How many councils does it take to make a motion? Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Any discussion on this, gentlemen? Audience? Yes.
A couple things. I'm relieved to hear that the council did not find much validity with the county's request for $100,000 for what amounts to their operating system, which would come out of their operating budget.
Can I stop right there? We're going to comment on the motion on the floor right now for these items.
Well, you didn't ask any public comment earlier, so
My apologies. Please continue.
I
then.
was kind of waiting for
No,
that.
my apologies. We're trying to. I was having trouble with the numbers.
I saw that.
You weren't supposed to.
I'm going to
Go ahead.
throw some more numbers at you.
Go ahead.
When I saw that, I thought it was very strange that 3 towns were kind of singled out, which kind of makes a little more sense with the police stationing. But if we were to chip in the $100,000, the county is paying the remaining $350,000 for the project. But we're also then paying our county taxes towards the county portion in addition to that $100,000. And Pittsfield, I looked up the census numbers. Pittsfield only has 3,908 people as far as the 2020 census. That's only 7% of the county population for the entire county. Skowhegan has 17% of the entire county population. And then you have everybody else in the county. So those 3 towns all together are only 37%, but they're going to be paying almost 50% of the cost of the system. It just seemed really out of whack for me to be considering that, and I really strongly feel it's their operating system. Yes, we use it, but it also services the entire county, and it needs to come out of their operating budget, especially when they have a much bigger ARPA fund pot than we do. Anyway, that's all I was going to say about that. And I do have to disagree with the air purifier systems. I do think they're still needed down here. This is a closed-up room. Earlier, we had meetings with every chair being filled, so it's not just a few people down here. At any time, we have the possibility of having several people here in this room, and I think they are still necessary. As far as the library, I thought one of the machines would be for the community room downstairs when there's gathering of people down there, because it is a smaller space versus like that big atrium kind of space up in the main library. So that might be a consideration as far as a space that would kind of have an item like that necessary for it if there's a gathering of people. So.
All right, thank you. Council?
I'm just curious what the county's gonna do if we said we weren't gonna chip in.
Right. I was one of the things.
And if the other two towns said they're not chipping in.
It sounds, I don't want to use the word hokey, but it doesn't pass the common sense test to me. You're right. And if it is a legitimate system for that reason, and as Heather had said, we reiterated before, why are we paying our taxes? They have a much bigger piece of the pie to use than that. That's out of their budget. They're the communications. That's why we dispatch from them. You know, we go back our own dispatch, and it'll cost a lot less than that.
Maybe we can reach out to those other two towns and
Well,
get their feel on the situation.
I'd like to have the police department weigh in on this. I know Bernie could speak to a little bit about it, but the fire system uses it's a different type of system than the police dispatch.
Right.
I know Pete is out of commission for the time being, maybe acting chief McDonough, but I know there's information here that something to the effect of
Isn't
this.
it Cochran?
Yeah, it's Cochran.
Yeah.
Keep saying McDonough.
Yeah, I do too. I do too, Mark. Sorry.
You're thinking back in school, might have been
If you're listening, my apologies. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. It doesn't pass the common sense test to deal with it now.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
as I suggested earlier, I think a letter from this council and from the select board or whatever they have in these other towns to the commissioners saying, hey, you guys had a big slab of pie, and why are we paying for a third of this, but everybody else is along for the ride?
Understood, Brett. I just need a little background as to why that was even there in their thought process in the first place. It apparently has been talked about for months now, and all of a sudden here we go, $100,000. So we're not going to jump on the next meeting. It's going to be something we need to dig into. But I appreciate your suggestion on that.
I'll
All
tell
right.
you why they're digging you for this is because the license that you have to have is for the town of Pittsfield Police Department. That's what they're going to
Right, but until we hear it from them, the people who are asking for this money, it's all hearsay. They need to identify to us justification for $100,000.
Bernard, did I hear you say that it was 10,000 per license?
Yeah.
He did note that, yes.
And that was per each cruiser?
Yeah, 1 second, please. Go ahead.
Each cruiser is considered a license and the office. So that would be 9 cruisers?
See, that's another question. We don't know. We can't act on this. We have not enough information at all.
Go ahead.
So we're getting some feedback from a Galaxy Note 20. You wish to speak? If you do, please identify your name and your address.
Yes, this is Amy Kitchen, and I'm the administrative assistant to the police chief.
Okay, Amy.
And I just wanted to let you know that the sheriff from Somerset County and the director from the communication center is willing to get on with you guys in the next meeting or a future meeting and discuss all the details of this. We have discussed with them, and they would like to go forward and explain this in more detail for you guys.
That would be super, Amy. Thank you very much for offering that. I appreciate you mentioning that. I think we will need to do that because there's a lot of questions and a lot of gaps that just make no sense to us sitting here tonight.
Yeah.
So what, Amy, what we'll do is hold on one second. Go ahead, Captain.
I had suggested to the police chief and to Amy, his administrative assistant, that rather than having this item on the agenda at this meeting, that we have a presentation from the sheriff's office and their vendor to explain out exactly how this all works, why they think that these towns should make this payment, how they figured out what the payment is, and I think somebody's going to have the question of, can they legally require us to pay this?
Could you contact them and ask them when their next availability is? Give them our town council schedule and ask them if they could do such. Otherwise, we can't and won't act on this.
Oh, certainly, yes. And I did speak with the police chief, and he was all set for them to come in to the next council meeting on April 5th.
Okay.
So we can have a presentation. Likely they would do it through Zoom, and we can ask questions. I did state that in order to have the presentation, we need to have some presentation materials ahead of time to read. Not just a write-up like we received, but the actual proposal and why they think this way.
Okay. All right, thank you. So we've gotten significantly off track because the motion didn't include that as a talking point. Bernard, Amy, thank you very much for your input on that. Anything else from the council on the motion on the floor for those three items? Very well. Seeing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2229 as noted, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. As noted, resolution 2229 passes. And you've got that. You got the items noted. That was
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
thank
I'll
you.
put it right in the minutes.
All right, very well, Catherine. If you would, please, let's move on to resolution 22-30.
Yes, thank you. Resolution 22-30. Resolved that the town council appoint Nicole Nicklin as warden and Tina Farias, Stephanie Kozel, and Lauren Watson as deputy wardens for the April 21st, 2022 special municipal election.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I make a motion we adopt resolution 22-30.
I'll second.
If I have to rescind this one,
But if you do, you get really good at it.
I guess I need to practice.
So you moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. This is essentially housekeeping items for every election. Any questions, council? Comments? Anyone in the audience? Very well, thank you. Let's continue to vote, please. All those on the council approve. Resolution 22-30. Please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-30 passes. Catherine, resolution 2231, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 22-31. Resolved that the town council approve the opening of absentee ballots on April 21st, 2022 at 10 o'clock a.m., 2 o'clock p.m., and 6 o'clock p.m. for the April 21st, 2022 special municipal election.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
The motion to adopt resolution 22-31.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Also, a housekeeping matter related. Any questions or comments? Audience, questions or comments?
Why does it say those three specific times on that day?
They're the times that they usually had for the opening of absentee ballots. This is what the town clerk has traditionally utilized.
That's when people come in and take out the absentee ballot.
For the absentee ballots that come in the mail, and for the absentee ballots that people can come upstairs and do absentees, even though we prefer they come in here. People can drop them off during the day also.
Okay.
Anything else, council? Very well. Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 22-31, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-31 passes. Number 8, let's go to discussion items. If we can, do you have anything on that, Catherine?
Just to mention that the department reports were in your package, and Donnie has been extremely busy, and so you got his reports this evening on the table. Thank you.
Anything else?
I'm all set, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Catherine. So we'll look to reports. We'll start with the audience. Ladies first. Heather, anything that you'd like to discuss and bring up? Very well. Mr. Lutz, anything you'd like to bring up to the council?
Somebody once gave me a poster to hang up in my office when I was an assistant principal in high school. The poster read, "The beginning of wisdom is silence." So, kind of what I'm thinking about, I do have one question that I'd like to just, I think, because I was kind of hoping that there would be, or I wasn't sure whether there'd be any discussion on the water project or not. I would kind of approach that as when that water project on virtual terrace takes place, that prior to that, there needs to be some kind of a communication with folks, those of us that live on that street. Whether it be something that's written or not. I mean, there are some people, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but there are some people on that street that are older than I am. And
You're right.
So sometimes it's a little more difficult for them to understand. And, maybe some kind of a little meeting or a little get-together when that happens so that people can understand what's happening during that process. Because, the best laid plans of mice, that's my second quote, isn't it? The best laid plans of mice and men, sometimes there are going to be some issues. I didn't bring my $5 tonight, but I think some kind of a notification to the folks on that street would really be appropriate to happen. And so if that could take place, that would be great. The other observation that I have is it was kind of interesting listening to the discussion tonight, because I think one of the things that all of a sudden we're all going to wake up some morning and realize that we really need to do a lot of things in this particular area on a regional basis to provide services. Central Maine is I think, kind of unique. And we need to start thinking about whether we're going to provide police services, whether we're going to provide ambulance services, whatever it's going to be, or possibly even school services. We need to have, and that's not going to happen. To do that, there's got to be a lot of discussion beforehand. And the idea about whether we're going to have a system where we have, a microphone that talks to police all over the place, or who's going to pay for that, that can be done on a regional basis. But as a region, we need to agree that we're going to work together. And I've lived in the area for a little over 20 years, and I think that sometimes that's been a challenge because there's a lot of competition between towns. And it's nice to be able to do your own thing, but there are certain services, and I think that kind of a discussion needs to happen. And I know back 100 years ago, again, making a reference to the school business, the school districts would get together and at least once or twice a year on a statewide basis and talk about some of the issues that they needed to deal with that we couldn't do. 2 or 3 years ago, I was working as a consultant for some stuff from the federal government. We were doing testing, the NAEP testing for the kids. And so I went up to Aroostook County, and we were testing 4th graders. And there are a lot of schools up there, and this goes back a few years ago now. There are a lot of schools up there that at one point in time would have 10, 12 kids in their 4th grade, now only 2 or 3. So what's the future of that going to hold? I'm listening to Sherry tonight. The last thing in the world I would want to be right now is a school superintendent again. But the other piece of that is, you're talking about new buildings and so forth. My signature is on a lot of paperwork that approved school buildings many years ago, because that was my department when I worked at the state level. I'm sorry, folks, But new schools are not going to be approved with state funds for towns and areas that have declining enrollments. It didn't happen 25 years ago, and it's not going to happen now. And so that, again, presents some issues that we have to maintain what we already have or look for other ways to provide those services. And I think to take a step where you can really begin to talk about some, and I know that there have been some attempts in the past to do that, but I think, we're living through some difficult times, which is the best time to begin to have these kinds of discussions. And I had some other thoughts, but I'll just put those aside for...
Till next time. You all set, Ted?
I'm all set.
All right, thank you very much. I know you want to respond to the notification briefly, please.
Yes, very briefly. When the town approves a project that's going forward, we have funding for it. There's a series of letters that go out. It introduces the people to the project, tells them the maps are here. You can call all of our associates for details of the town office. And then when the project's going to go forward and the engineers are going to go out and look at the tie-ins at the lot lines or in their basements, depending on the project, they get a letter on that. And then they get a letter in the end telling them the project's going forward. So there'll be plenty of notification.
A letter would be nice, but also looking somebody eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah, and they will actually do that.
Be nice also.
Yeah. Or the people come to the town office and they meet with them.
Yeah, but as long as that happens.
Yep, that has happened.
To be honest, I'm getting a little tired of being the person on the structure of terrace when he calls. Because I think that I know more.
Well, you kind of
So keep your $5. There you go. So you're all set there?
All set.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone online wishes to speak at this moment? Very well, we will go to the council. We'll start with Councilor Frost. Anything you'd like to bring up, sir?
no report.
No report. Deputy Mayor Lodgedice?
No report.
No report. We will go to Councilor Jester.
No report for the
No report. You guys are way too easy. Stop looking at the clock. Councilor Saucier.
No report.
We're not going to get skunked here. Councilor Hall.
Nah, not done. I think tonight's discussion was really a good discussion, a little longer than maybe we wanted, but just not to kind of willy-nilly approve things without scrutinizing them, asking the questions, kind of being responsible, especially with all the money that's coming in right now from federal grants and whatnot. We can really position ourselves a lot better than where we're at right now. So just asking the questions and spending it in the right way is critically important. The other thing, I guess maybe I'm a little confused by it or maybe a little concerned, was the Main Street project and some of the new money that's coming into it, different things that we're maybe eligible for, not eligible for. I know I feel like I'm somewhat in the dark on that. When I asked who was on the advisory committee, we could name two, but we didn't know the rest.
I've named three.
Okay, well, yeah, afterwards. But anyway, just like meeting in the middle of the week during working hours. Obviously, nobody's going to be able to attend. Meeting minutes are fine, but I think us as elected officials and the Main Street project being a critical focus of the entire town. I think residents kind of deserve us to be involved in that's what they elected us for, and I think that's something that we all should be involved in, and if meetings can take place when the council can be there and the council can make decisions, I think that's going to be the best benefit of the entire town, in my opinion. But beyond that, that's pretty much all I had to say.
All right, thank you, Jason. Appreciate
So
that.
if councilors could be involved, that would be great, because so far we haven't had that. but we're getting to a critical point now. And so having counselors involved in the meetings would be very good.
Meetings in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, are not something most counselors who have jobs and whatnot are able to attend. So if those meetings could be 5 o'clock, in the evening, if it needs to be Zoom, I think they all should be at least recorded, and so the town can go in and watch them after the fact.
If it has impact on
it's-
this major project, I agree.
Right. Yeah. With, at one point it was just a small portion of money. Now it's, or not a small portion of money, but a specific portion of money. Now there's other opportunities for more money. I think the more people you get involved, the better. And if you can make those meetings at a reasonable time,
Yep.
you're going to get more involvement.
It's certainly something that can be discussed.
So,
We had the informational sessions at 5:30 and 6 o'clock for people in the past.
yeah, that'd be
That worked out
good.
good.
I remember at the beginning of me being on the council, we were all involved in some of those discussions. I think they were worthwhile.
That
So,
worked out good.
right,
Anything else, Jason?
that's it.
All right. So we'll wrap up. I'm glad, Catherine, you had put in there the meeting with Mr. Rodrigo Chimbero, because Mr. Vega had shared that information with me about offering his services, and this is long overdue doing that. So I'm glad that they brought that in, and I'm glad that we're actually listening to Peter. I know he said a number of times that call us, we can help, and he's been bending over backwards for us, and we're very fortunate to have a company like that. So thank you for bringing that
He's
in there.
been very helpful.
Yep. And I would like to see, I'd like to see that come to fruition, and it's going to be money well spent. The other thing I want to share, last week, I believe it was, the Central Maine paper, I think the Morning Sentinel, just article, they had a list of Central Maine projects receiving community project funding grants, and they list Kennebec County, whatnot, Somerset County. Just a couple sentences, I'll read it very briefly. So this is the visibility we're getting with this project. Maine Department of Transportation, Pittsfield State Route 11, which is actually Route 100 Main Street. $3.2 million to rehabilitate 1.8 miles of Route 11 to address deficiencies with safety, mobility, pavement, structure drainage, pedestrian access, ADA compliance, and bicycle access. This route is a primary access to Maine Central Institute and major employers in Pittsfield. This route is a primary access to Maine Central Institute and major employers in Pittsfield. That's why the DOT is involved. This is our main artery going through town. I think we're positioned very well, and I'm anxious to see this thing start. I'm not so anxious about going through the middle of all the work for the year or two it's going to take, but see this come to fruition, we won't recognize it downtown. So I'm very excited about that. I just want to share my enthusiasm with everyone on that. So that's really all I have. Thank you very much, everyone online and everyone in the audience. I've always said I like to have the audience filled every time. It's only happened a couple times, but that's when people had large access to grind. But other than that, thank you all very much for coming, and I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Who's got the books? Me. Awesome.
I'm going to turn off the town hall screen.
I think I've seen it.
Oh, yeah. I had a big farm and a bag.